What do you want me to do? Take the headset off? It takes forever. I was starving. I haven't had anything since 6 in the morning. And then, boom, I thought I'd sneak in a banana. Bad move.
Here he is, one half of the team, Donnie and Dolly, on Czech television weekdays 10 to 12. It is our old friend, Friday regular Canucks insider, Mr. Rick Dhaliwal with Sekeres.
Always a pleasure. One of the highlights of my week is coming on with you two.
Well, it's literally the last thing you do every work week, right? And then you head on off into Crown O'Clock on Fridays. No,
5 o'clock tonight. I bought the ice. It's all ready to go. It's all set up.
You bought the ice. You not make ice at home, Ricky?
No.
What's the recipe? Do you know the recipe? I'm unclear.
Did you buy that, like those ice balls, those perfect spheres of ice for the Crown? Is that how you enjoy it?
The cubes. They're so good, and you just you throw them in. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. The cubes, not the spheres.
Hold on a second. Here's Price again. He thinks he's above me. You've never bought ice before, Blake?
Oh no, I make it at home. Organic,
okay. All right.
Organic ice.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
I have bought ice before.
All natural.
Sometimes when you're filling out a cooler, you need ice.
I'm not highfalutin like you, Dhaliwal, living in a brand new complex. I gotta make my own ice. All right.
So,
all right.
Let's
hold
move
on a sec,
along
Matt.
here. Okay,
Matt, because I got a bone to pick with you, Matt. Because earlier this week you mentioned.
This is the Aidan McDonough thing, right?
Aidan McDonough, and you said the Canucks should trade him. So just let me give you because I don't agree with your take that the Canucks should move McDonough, and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to the kid on Monday morning. I talked to his advisor on the weekend. Yes, he didn't sign in Vancouver, but it had nothing to do with the city or the team at all. It was for his development, the reasons why he decided to go back to Northeastern. His best friend is Jack Rathbone, guys. Here's my thinking on this. He's 22. He's 6'2", 200-pounder. Just scored 25 goals in 38 games. He's probably going to lead the NCAA in goal scoring next year, just a guess. So other than Klimovich, there's not another young goal scorer in Abbotsford who's young, drafted. I don't see anything in Europe goal scoring wise. And so in terms of age and offense, he fits into what this regime wants. Youth, younger, and offense. I have no evidence that he will not sign in Vancouver. Lockwood played the fourth year, and when he elected to go back for his fourth year, everybody was crying, he's gone, he re-signed. I don't get the feeling at all, talking to the kid and, again, the advisor, that this was anything to do with Vancouver and that he won't sign here next year. I know things can happen.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, they don't have a ton in the system. They don't have a ton of goal scorers that are young, that are playing. Matt, that's why I disagree.
And Rick, I will concede a couple of points there. Number one, that they don't have a lot of prospects. That number two, the prospects they have aren't necessarily goal scorers. And number three, I don't even think they have like a burgeoning power forward type of prospect, unless you consider Klimovich that. But I think McDonough is more of that. You say, though, you don't have any evidence that he won't sign in Vancouver, except the fact he did not sign in Vancouver here this cycle.
But he told
he's a physically mature player. It's not like he has to get stronger. He's already dominated NCAA hockey, and the fact of the matter is he'll be 24 years old when he finally gets in to an NHL training
He's
camp.
Not a young goal scorer.
How much longer are you going to wait on this?
Already, for
how much longer are you going to wait on this guy if you're Rutherford and the Canucks management when maybe he helps in a trade this summer?
Okay, so here's where I come back with you. He clearly stated he's going back to improve his skating. That's been a knock on him.
Fair.
That's probably one of the reasons why he went in the 7th round. It's his life, his development, his career. He's got the option to do anything he wants, guys.
Yes, he does.
But he's and
he's
all
a human being of free will. Yeah, I will concede that.
He's going to do.
Well.
He's going to do what's best for him, not for you two or me or anybody else.
No one's begrudging the decision.
But what I'm saying,
as an organization, you've got to protect yourself and protect yourself with your assets. It's a defensive move by the Canucks, not a this guy sucks move by the Canucks.
And look, he does what's best for him. Yes, go ahead, do that. No one is disputing that. It's just what is best for him may not be best for the Vancouver Canucks. And if that's the case, then maybe there's not a fit and everyone goes about their merry way.
Okay, last thing on this, and I will say this: I do believe the Vancouver Canucks were disappointed. Not like mad. I thought a lot of. I just think that they thought this was and just as you said, Blake or Matt, they thought he was ready to come out. They really thought, you know what, come out, go to Abbotsford, work your way up, and away you go. Right. But he just, I just think. They thought he was ready.
And Rick, here's the thing. He can work on his skating under the Canucks supervision as well, so I can understand. And I think you're always disappointed as an NHL organization when a college player tells you, I'm going back for my fourth year, because you recognize that, that they see free agency, unrestricted free agency is in sight at that point.
Yeah, but Lockwood
so
did too.
That's fair. That's fair.
Lockwood did too. And again, I can say this because I talked to the kid and advisor, they got nothing against Vancouver. In fact, the kid said 3 times, I love Vancouver. I think he was here for one development camp. I think there's a good chance he's coming for another development camp if he's allowed. But there's nothing, there's no ill will on either side. I think the Canucks were hoping he would have come out. He didn't. Now let's see what happens in the next 10 months.
Completely understandable. Yeah, and look, I suspect there will be opportunity on the wing in this organization. So Vancouver may be as good a scenario as he is going to be able to find. And quickly, if he starts looking at other teams and contemplating unrestricted free agency.
He's 6'2". He's going to be a 200-pounder, physical maturity. And we talked all week about how big, strong, and heavy the St. Louis Blues were. And clearly the Canucks, you go back to Jim Benning, guys, and there was Goodbranson. You gave up McCann. They took Lucic out for dinner. They got Michael Furland. There were so many times they tried to get size. Reeves, even though he went back to Vegas, he was in town during free agency, the window where you could talk. This team's been trying to get bigger and heavier for years, and they haven't been able to do it. They just haven't.
It may be part of the problem of that home ice advantage. There's nobody prowling the ice at Rogers Arena intimidating you by any stretch.
That's it.
Before we leave Abbotsford, the possible landing spot for Aidan McDonough in a year and a half, what do you think of the first year of the Abbotsford Canucks? And they're still playing, so the book is not closed here. They're likely in the playoffs, so they'll have some home playoff dates, which will add some sizzle to the Abbotsford experience. But has it left you wanting in terms of, both the manipulation of the cap and the ability for the Canucks to use the convenience of the team, and just in terms of how much they're in the market? Like, you're a little closer to them than we are geographically, but I would have expected we'd see more of it out there than we have.
Yeah, I think crowd-wise, they're not too unhappy. And a lot of the feedback they're getting is that the people like the situation in Abbotsford, Blake. And I'm gonna bring something else up. And I'll always go back to this. Go back to when Demko played his first game in Vancouver. And he left Utica on let's say 7 o'clock on a Friday night and got here just literally 10, 11, 12, planes, trains, and automobiles, the whole 9 yards. How many times have the Canucks reporters gone to a game and seen an Abbotsford guy there, Juleson, or somebody that has shown up from Abbotsford at the Canucks practice, and literally it's a 45-minute drive. From that perspective, the Canucks are very happy. It is so good to know that you're one phone call away and 45 minutes away, or whatever, an hour. I'm going to get blasted for saying Abbotsford's it's more than 45 minutes. Okay, how many times have they had multiple players at a Canucks practice? That part of it is working out perfectly, Blake. It is exactly why your farm team should not be too far away. There's been days at Canucks practices, they've had 2, 3 Abbotsford guys there. That part of it has been working out. I see good crowds. I'm not seeing Abbotsford Heat, Calgary Flames farm team crowds. I'm seeing people having fun at Abbotsford games. The team's been competitive. They're going to make the playoffs. They got the guy Dries leading the American League in goals. So I don't know. Like, I don't see a ton of negatives. I don't know, Blake, about you, but I think it's not been bad year one.
The unmitigated or the unequivocal criticism, though, will be the development of talent coming out of the American Hockey League. A big part of that is they haven't had a lot of draft picks. They haven't had a lot of prospects to develop. But is some of that blame being pointed at Trent Cull? Is he coaching for his job security for next season, or do you think they're locked in there?
Hey, let me throw you something. You know how this week, let me throw something at you guys. You know how this week everyone's talking about Bruce Boudreau. It's not, are the Canucks going to bring him back? If they were so happy with him, why haven't they already said, and why are they making him coach without, an extension or whatever? If they're not super sold on Bruce yet, I would say the same thing would probably apply in Abbotsford with Trent Cull. It's a new regime. It's a new outlook. And maybe their philosophy on a coach in the American League is different than what Jim Bennings was when they hired Trent Cull. So that is, to me, you're going to get a good read on what this management group thinks with what they do with Boudreau and Cull. Are they automatics to come back? Are they not automatics to come back? Are they being discussed at the highest level with Rutherford and Alvin, or Ryan Johnson's going to have a big say? If you've ever heard Ryan Johnson talk about Trent Cull going back to Utica, he's always raved about him. He's always been a big fan of him. Even coming to Abbotsford, there were some people saying, "Oh, Trent Cull's not going to come back." I'm pretty sure that Ryan Johnson had a big say in Trent Cull coming to Abbotsford as well. So what happens with Boudreau and Cull is going to be very interesting to me. It's a new regime. Do they want their own coaches, or are they happy status quo? Those are big questions going forward. But I will say this to you, Blake. When I look at the prospects, it's Rathbone, Lockwood, and it's Klimovich. Those are the three for me that are drafted, that are young in the system. And Lockwood is a perfect example. Perfect example of the farm system working. We always knew he was going to be a bottom six guy, tremendous speed, works his ass off. He's going to lead your team. In the 2 games he played on the road, he led the team in hits on the road. That's huge for me for forwards. He's fast. He's going to get 9, 10, 11 minutes a night. We always knew he was going to be a bottom six forward, so they developed him. They got him ready. So now you got to do the same thing with Rathbone. You got to do it with Klimovich, but you also got to do it with Mikey DiPietro. So, hey, look, when the farm team just served you up Will Lockwood, that's when development works.
When might we see Rathbone with the big club?
When I talked to Jim Rutherford a couple of weeks ago, he definitely said he's coming up. But I mean, like, what are they waiting for, guys? What is Dallas up? Hold on a sec. Dallas is up 6 with 3 games in hand. Like, what are you waiting for? Get the kid up, play the heck out of him, see what you got. And, I know everyone's going to say he's great offensively, he can skate like the wind. What about his play in his own end? Well, bring him up to the NHL level and watch him. Watch what he can bring to the table. He's definitely getting games down the stretch, Rathbone is. But I'm just kind of sitting back going, what are you waiting for? Get him up. Play the heck out of him. Why not?
Okay, moving along to what you have referenced already, and that is the Bruce Boudreau contract situation. Yeah. As we all know, Bruce just wanted to coach hockey again, and signed for this year plus next year, which isn't fully guaranteed, or there may be 0 guarantees there, you tell me. And now we're hearing grumblings he's not their guy? Who is he not the guy of? He's certainly the owner's guy because the owner hired him. Does that mean the Rutherford group is waffling on Boudreau after he wins like 650 with a winning percentage of 650 since he took over? 600, 650 since he took over? Very odd to me. Very odd.
It is. It is, but you also have to look at it from the new regime. And as I mentioned before, it's a new regime. Do they want their own guy? Do they not want their own guy? Do they want their own guy in the American League? Someone that they trust maybe more to develop players? Who knows? These are all ifs, ands, and buts. But here's my biggest thing, Blake and Matt. So if they do make a change here, so are you telling me going into training camp you're going to have 3 different coaches in less than what? Probably 9 months going into camp, 3 different voices, 3 different strategic plans, 3 different guys in the dressing room telling you, no, we're not doing it the way Bruce did it and Travis did it. We're not going to do it the way those guys. This is the new way. If you're a hockey team, the last thing in the world you want is 3 different coaches in 9 months. That's not going to be good. I don't think there's a ton of guys in the dressing room that would be if they do this. It's all capital letters if. But I wouldn't want 3 different voices in 9 months. That's ridiculous. But by the same token, it's going to be very interesting. Don't you kind of guys think that what's his record at 24, 12, and 8? If they were so enamored and happy with him, if it is so obvious, like a lot of people, Matt, like you would be disappointed. If it's so obvious he should be back, why haven't they pulled the trigger and announced it?
It's a great question. How much negotiating have they done? Like, I guess my follow-up would be, Rick, is Boudreau now going, okay, guys, I sold myself short, or, you got me cheap here for this year. I've done a marvelous job, and now I'm asking to be paid what the top NHL coaches are making. And are the Canucks balking at it? Is that the dynamic in the background right now?
No, because from what we gather, it's just a clause where the Canucks have to let him know that he's in for next year. I think next year's contract's already done and agreed on. They just have to let him know if he's in or out for next year.
But that's my question, Rick. That's my question. Yeah. Is Boudreau going to him and saying, look, I know you can exercise the option, but I want an extension here?
Yeah. Well, Matt, I'll tell you this. That's not the question I'm asking if I'm Bruce Boudreau. The question I'm asking if I'm Bruce Boudreau is, let me know quick, because if you don't want me back, I got to go get another job. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Because when this regular season's over, Matt, there might be 5 openings within a week. There could be 6. Bruce isn't saying that. Bruce is saying, if I was Bruce, I would be saying, if you're not bringing me back, don't take 6 weeks after the regular season to let me know. Let me know quick.
Okay, but I've also been of the mind, why do they need an extension? Why can't they just exercise the option and then see where it rolls? But do you think there's a world in which he just gets the option triggered and doesn't get an extension per se?
Yeah. How about one more year of Bruce? And Bruce, guess what? If you got this winning percentage, 675 or whatever it is, at Christmas time, let's do a new 2 or 3 year deal.
To me, that's the slam dunk. It's the slam dunk decision.
No,
don't extend them.
Guys.
Team option them and make the decision down there. Lame duck coach is not a thing anymore.
Yeah, it is. We saw it here last year. How could...
He came back.
Not paying attention last year?
He came back, Matt. He got the deal.
He did come back.
Look at the dynamic that it created with the head coach, the market, the media, management above him, and most importantly, the players who weren't sure whether they needed to bother listening to Travis Green because he was a lame duck head coach. Okay, you want to go through that again with Bruce Boudreau?
What effect did it have, Matt? What effect did it have?
Well, they finished last in the Canadian division, Blake.
But that was going to happen anyway.
You think?
They
were worse than Ottawa on paper? No. Come on.
Well, no, but whether or not you were 6th or 7th, it didn't matter.
And here's another one for you guys, because I think Travis, and you talk about the lame duck coach. Well, I'm going to go back to Gadjevich and Lind. So you got a coach last year with no contract. He's probably trying to rack up a lot of wins to justify to Gadjevich and Linden. They were out of the playoffs, and those poor kids still weren't getting a ton of ice time. And here's another one for you. So if you don't tell Bruce till the end of the regular season, he's going to try to continue to rack up wins, not only to get re-signed by the Vancouver Canucks, but if he gets let loose, he's trying to show 31 other GMs that, hey, look, I'm still a good coach. So there's a lot of dynamics at play.
All right, my friend, we'll let you go into the weekend. Thank you for all of this. And we'll catch up next Friday, Rick.
Always a pleasure. It's just
good debates today, Ricky. Good debates.
Yeah, that's right.
Always enjoy the debate, my friend. I love that you fight with a smile on your face, too. You're the best.
Yeah. It's Price that gets me going.
Okay. All right. Because you and Blake were on a team there for a bit.
I always feel like I'm the dummy that barely got past grade 12, and Price is the guy that went to Harvard, and he just got too much prim and proper for me, Price. Too much.
The Harvard of the West, UBC English Lit.
Hey, New West, NWSS, best high school in Lower Mainland.
You're the best.
Hey, listen, and quickly, NWSS is where Rick Dhaliwal and Bob Marjanovic graduated. So you know the standards aren't high. Well, they weren't high back in the 80s. Anyways, have a nice day.
Until next Friday.
See you, buddy.
Dhaliwal, everybody.
They broke the mold. Mm-hmm. Really did.
You honestly think, though, going into next season with Boudreau as the lame duck head coach is wise?
I don't know that with this particular group that it matters right now. I don't think it's you're not going into next season with Stanley Cup aspirations. And you know what? Maybe what guides this, Matt, too, is their confidence that they can actually affect change on the roster next season. If they don't think that they can change the roster significantly because of the cap crunch, Matt, what's the point in bringing in a new coach?
That's it.
Doing all that. Like, what's the point? So why not just see what the next year brings?
So my thing is, if Boudreau is not Rutherford and this group's guy, too bad. Market loves him. Players played for him. Sign him to a 2-year extension, so at a higher rate, right? Like, get him closer to what the top coaches are making. And if at some point over the next year and a half, it's not working out, you move on him. And you replace him with your guy. I'm worried that the hand of ownership is at play here and that they're just cheaping out because they're already paying Travis Green and know they made a terrible decision there in terms of extending him when they extended him. And, of course, they're on the hook for his salary until he gets an NHL job or until the contract expires. So I hope it's not, we're already paying one coach and we extended him in a scenario and then moved on him quickly, so we don't want to pay you, Bruce. I hope we're not going to make a second mistake because we've already made the first mistake with Green, and it's too much money for the ownership group on coaches. I hope that's not the case.
I see the lame duck thing is risky at the tail end of a year. That's why we talked about it last year. So again, if you trigger this clause, you know he's coming back. Players aren't thinking, I'm probably not going to listen to this guy because he may not be my coach in a year's time. No, we talked about it at the end of last year for Travis Green because there's only a month and a half of a dead as a doornail season anyway.
I would say it's the second half of the year. I would say if your coach gets beyond the second half of the year, so that's 40 games, and they could be important games as you head towards
so
the
if
playoffs.
they are, if they're playing important games at the 41 game mark and they're in the thick of it, then you extend them.
Okay,
but why not give yourself the benefit of time? You don't need to do this right now.
Yeah, well, agree to disagree. I think the leader of that room should have a commitment made to him from management and ownership.
He's under contract. If you trigger that clause, he's under contract. That's just the cold hard business.
Yeah,
it's true. The way it works.
Haven't made it. He's under contract. It's just you haven't made a commitment. There is a distinction.
By triggering the clause, Matt,
I would like to think the lesson was learned.
The very triggering of the clause is a commitment to the coach. That's we like what you've done. We want you back.
Yeah, it's the smallest commitment one can make, right?
But this isn't a touchy-feely business. This is bottom line. This is wins and losses. And there's a lot of times where I will jump into the pond of the Aquilinis are being cheap here. This is just savvy business at this point, isn't it? You've got a clause. You got the ability to tell the players, we like this coach, we're bringing him back.
Industry best practice is you have your head coach locked up for at least a couple of years. I
don't think that's the case anymore. There was like 7 guys in there last year.
Right. And there were 24 guys who had longer term deals.
Well, because 18 make the play or 16 make the playoffs. Yeah. You're going to have a big swath of guys that keep on going. But there's more than enough turnover.
And if other teams and owners are out there and want to go the cheap route and want to bring that into their organization, so be it.
Matt, this team would paid a lot of coaches not to coach. I don't think that's an issue.
Sure.
They paid a lot of coaches not to coach.
Choices with coaches. You have a good one now. Commit.
He's a good one.
Keep him around.
Whether or not he's going to mesh with the group that's eventually going to be the playoff group, we don't know.
And I hear you there, but at least extend him beyond next season. And then make the determination at some point over.
And if he's 24, 12, and 4, or whatever it is, to start through the end of November, he'll get that extension. No doubt in my mind.